Welcome to CritiX Media. We are CritiX.com. Of course, you guys know me, Klepcx here, and I'm here with someone very special. There's this new movie coming out, and I got to tell you, if you have a fear of heights, you might want to skip this one.
Don't start the intro with "Don't go see the movie."
No.
Fair
Listen,
enough.
it's a thrill ride.
I'm kidding.
If you are a thrill seeker like myself, then you definitely want to check out this movie. Listen, I have Scott Mann in the building, the director of the new film Fall. It stars Jeffrey Dean Morgan, Grace Carolyn Curry, Mason Gooding.
Yeah.
Mason Gooding, and Virginia Garner. I got that right?
Correct.
Yeah. All off the top.
You got
Look
that
at
right. That's
all off the top.
Yeah, there you go.
So first I got to ask you the obvious question. Where is this tower? Please tell me it exists. Please tell me it's real.
It's real. It exists. Okay, so the original tower, it's in Arizona, and it was the fourth highest building in the US until other things exceeded it. And we came across these, like myself and the writer wanted to do something on heights and do to kind of find the most extreme situation. And we came across these structures and like this particular one, it was we saw a video of someone climb up and change a light bulb at the top, and it was just terrifying to watch. And it was the perfect kind of structure to kind of set this horror of heights, fear of falling film that we were kind of constructing around. So it totally exists. And then and we actually got like to film the film, like it became apparent we couldn't actually film up the actual tower, because it's one thing getting the girls up there, but getting the crew up there was going to be impossible. It was going to be just too difficult and too many people. So in the end, we got the people who built that tower, the tower makers and the plans, and we managed to get a location 2,000 foot up in the air on kind of a cliff edge, where we built the sections of the tower up from there, and that enabled us to film and have kind of a base of height that was about 100 feet below them, that we could then get access and do it that way. So yeah, that was the way we did it.
So when directing these young ladies, like, how did you instill the fear? Like, how long were they suspended? How high up? And how long? How long?
Okay, yeah. The truth. Well, instilling the fear was easy. I just put them up the massive bloody tower, and just the elements up there. Like, the truth is, like, at that height, because you are thousands of feet up, it's different. Like, the clouds are something that's below you. I remember one time, like, two planes flew past us below us, which is very strange kind of like thing to watch. And the elements like sway this thing around and throw it about, and so them being up there, I think, was the best direction I could have possibly given them. But yeah, they went for it, right? So they kind of went up there. We had obviously it's really good safety teams and stunt teams, like the same guys who did the Dubai Tower and Mission. Did the rigging on this, and it enabled them to kind of have the freedom of being up there, but knowing that if anything terrible happened, there was always like a safety wire that would have saved them. But I have to say, it's terrifying. It's terrifying even to climb. I climbed up it the first time with them, and it was horrible. I'm scared of heights anyway. I guess doesn't help, but just it's horrible. So I think they went for it so well, and as they grew more and more comfortable with the stunt teams and the environment and being up there, they started doing their own stunts, and that was like this extra layer of confidence, I guess, and enabled the film to kind of be captured in the way we were able to capture it.
So how long of hours per day would you say that you had?
Yeah, up there, yeah. I think, okay, so the days usually split into, it usually ended up like this. To get to the top of the mountain every day took several hours, right? Then we would get the girls, like, who go through makeup and everything, and then they would go up to the top. That would take a long time. And then we basically could film for as long as their bladders allowed us. So until they needed the bathroom was the length of how we shot. And then we broke for lunch, and then we took them down. They went to the bathroom, they ate some lunch, they went back up again, and then again until their bladders pulled them down. So we usually had two kind of up and down moments, because to get up and down is a nightmare, especially in the movie. Once the ladder's down, it's really hard. Like, the only way to get up there is on a crane and a bucket, and you go all the way up, and then you have to do this very complex safety handover, step onto it. It's very hard, and basically it meant I would say 2-3 hours at a time they were up there, and they had in the bag that's part of the movie there, we would put the water and, so they could have a drink and a bit of powder. So we kind of tried to integrate into what limited things we had with us. And that's kind of how we did it. It was like very raw and real. And I think the other part of it was, the other thing that enabled it to happen, honestly, was before realizing we weren't going to be able to interact so much, as a director, in terms of directing them, like how do I direct them from the ground or from a crane? It's very hard to kind of really be with the person to kind of communicate. And so what we did is we took built out like a little wooden version in my own backyard. There was just a platform on a little table with a pole. And then Ginny and Grace came around and we just worked through the rehearsal process together in my yard. So we had a reference point of what each scene meant and what was happening. And that way we were able to kind of lock in what the performances needed to be at each stage, even though like they were all the way up there doing it,
So what would you say was the hardest part? And was there anything in particular that you just wanted to do, but you couldn't do?
Well, like most things, I think you have to be quite nimble on it, not to. I think the hardest part. The hardest part, honestly, was just the engineering and building of the situation to get up there and to be a film at height, and then but equally, it's like I also think that we developed how we shot the film. Like at first, we had a big techno crane and the natural inclination is, we can do this all as one shot in this fancy way. But actually, as we were looking at coming through and with the editing process as it moved forward, we realized actually that's not really immersing you into the story. Like you're just observing it if you want some kind of thing like that. So I kind of took a few lessons more from kind of Free Solo as a documentary, and then it also something like influencer material that I'd seen in and around of how that's very point of view based. So it changed how we shot the movie. And to be honest, it was very much like we ended up giving up fighting the elements that kept beating us down and just going with it and just kind of going in the direction of the wind and capturing it in a way that is much more kind of real and human than trying to do anything elaborate. So it influenced the style, but in the end, I think the film is the way it is for the right reasons, and it helps the movie being in that, told in a much more kind of POV narrative way, because it immerses you properly into that theme park ride,
Yeah. So, and you mentioned that you have a fear of heights as well. So I'm not even sure why you even attempted this.
Why do you? Well, the moral of the story, right? Moral of the story is overcome your fears and go through. There you go. That's my central motivation.
Why do you think there is such a fascination with this thrill of, what is it? Solo? What is it called? Something solo. Free solo. Yeah. That's right.
Alex.
Free solo.
Del Capitan. Yeah. I think really it gets to a point where you talk about I think it's really about life and death and human story. So I actually think it goes deeper than just the kind of like the spectacle. I think it's actually about, I think when you look at people doing things and that living life to the full on the razor's edge of death is like, is very much, it's about life and it's about death and it's about grief and it's about, what things are. And I think the kind of central message, I suppose, that there's explored from a character point of view is very much that, right? It's about Becky's kind of having fallen, so to speak, into this kind of grief that she finds herself in and having to kind of find the fight for life again and really kind of something that strips her so bare down she has to face up to the facts and climb out of it is kind of the central story. And I think it's quite resonant nowadays, given the 2 years we've just had of being beaten through. And look, we literally get one life, and if we want to be reminded of that fact, kind of so starkly, of all the deaths that have occurred in the last couple of years, it's kind of, we really, you got one life for living. And I'm not trying to encourage people to climb and hang off towers, but I think the idea that you kind of like face your fears, you overcome them, you go for it, don't live in fear and don't have any regrets is probably the message that I think tries to kind of fight through,
So don't go climb a mountain, make a movie about climbing a mountain.
Yeah, you go. That's it. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what I did.
And I know you've worked with Jeffrey Dean before, and what was it like bringing him on board with this? Was he all on board? Did he understand the assignment?
Yeah, 100%. Like Jeff, I worked with in the past and had a great time with him and became friends. And I think when it came to this, we realized when we're writing it, look, we need someone who really can carry such an important part of the story, but in a kind of limited time. So you have to immediately go there and get there, and the kind of emotional kind of hook that travels through the movie there. There's very few people that can do that, like Jeff can. And we literally wrote that part for Jeff. I called him up. I said, "Listen, I got this part. It's only for a short screen time, but it's the most important scene of the movie, you can argue, and put it in there." And he totally got it. He loved it, and was all over it. So he completely and nailed it. Like he is a great dad in real life, right? He is that person, and I think that's so it was kind of easy to capture that with Jeff because it's just him, really.
Yeah, and I want to commend you for that because it's not all thrills. There is a lot of heart in the story, and Jeffrey does nail that very well with the character Becky. I just want to thank you for taking the time to talk with me, Scott. It is a hell of a film. My palms were sweating through the whole thing. I don't know if I can handle an IMAX, but I would love to see this in an IMAX.
Good man, get the biggest screen you can. You can tell. Just go one step at a time. Start,
Start on the 13-inch and work my way up. Guys,
work your way up for sure.
The movie is Fall. It comes out this Friday, August 12th. You guys make sure you check it out. And again, Scott, it was an honor talking to you, man. I appreciate it.
It was great talking to you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right.